a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you,
good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters. It is another episode of Ask George. Good evening, George.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Steve.
Good to see you, mate. I do want to quickly read out an email we've been sending today. It's not a question, it's from James Barron. It just shows you this problem doesn't go away, George, unfortunately. Dear sirs, you have no idea the level of frustration I'm feeling regarding membership access to tickets. So please don't patronise me and thousands of fans who share my disappointment. 25 unsuccessful ballots in a row. I'll say it again, 25 unsuccessful ballots in a row. I paid out my hard-earned cash for nothing. Yes, I'm told I can receive discounted offers in the club shop and stadium, but what use is that when I can't even gain access to the said stadium? Do you know how galling it was to see that on the last game of the season, each attendee was warranted 2 free pints of beer? I'll assume you do, as you already understand my feeling towards ticketing. My £47 went towards those beers. Unfortunately for me and many others, the membership scheme is oversubscribed and it's evident there's no cap in place. The club is happy to take the fans' money year on year, with membership increasing bots and seating becoming less available due to the harvesting of seats to be sold to corporate customers. I've tried the membership sale on Mondays. My conclusion is that unless you're in the first few thousand in the queue, you simply got no chance. Last Monday, Spurs at home, I was 100,521 in the queue. And yes, in the past, I've also used multiple devices, which if you're talking about fairness and randomness, shouldn't be allowed. I'm losing interest in the ballot system, and I doubt I'm not the only one who's becoming disengaged. As for enhancing the overall supporter experience through surveys and consultation workshops, can you pass on my regards to those who analyse these lip service groups that I have no experience or engagement? I implore the club to be more transparent and the fans. I feel as if my loyalty has been taken for granted and members are treated differently to season ticket holders and those lucky enough to be able to afford a corporate seat. The communication from the club is at times derisory. Yes, I know some issues are sensitive, but throw a bone every now and then. Roll on 26, James. James, awful situation to find yourself in, mate. We've been through this a million times on this programme, but I won't stop highlighting it when people send an email, and kindly write an email. My advice, he did copy in that email, he copied in the trust. And to be fair to Lisa Mole, the chair of the trust, she did reply. She urged James to contact supporter services, which is a fair enough comment. And we basically suggested that he copy in the new CEO. Maybe he copies in the box office, maybe he copies in supporter services, and maybe he copies in FAB. Because it is amazing how quickly people reply when you copy somebody in above them. So good luck, James. Hopefully James will get an answer. But we don't need to discuss that. We've discussed it plenty of times on here, but I did want to highlight James.
I think I've outlined my frustrations with it all, with the so-called ballot and all that. I'm not going to go over that again, but it drives me crackers. So James, and I'll give an anecdote. Before the Arsenal match, as usual, I met everybody in the Irish Centre, all the NFC matters people in the Irish Centre. And there was a lad sitting with me. I give him a shout out on the Amigos on Friday night, called Armand.
Yeah.
And he comes from Leeds nearly every game.
Yeah.
And sits till he can find somewhere to watch the match. Well, on the Arsenal game, he'd actually got a ticket.
Oh.
His first ticket in God knows how long. So
Right.
he did see the match, but he found the one where we didn't win. But his frustrating story was exactly like this one. Draw after draw after draw after draw. And this is somebody who really puts money into it, travels all the way to Newcastle every time we're at home. And he doesn't live within 100 miles. So that's real support, but he's not getting any joy out of the club. And I can't see how he can. Until the things, transparency is the word, Steve, you've used it. That's what's lacking for me. And some of the other things on ticketing, like the things they do with the away supporters. Again, I've said what I think about that, and I think it's totally wrong. But it is what it is. We're stuck with it until somebody decides to look at it more closely. Perhaps the new CEO might look at it more closely if people send emails like this to him. And you're right to say copy it to everybody. Don't miss anybody out.
No, definitely not. Okay, it is your show where you get a chance to ask George a question. John Askew emailed in, so unfortunately, Barry, you weren't the first in tonight. Could you give a brief summary of what Neil and his organisation will be doing in Qatar? Asks John.
Okay. Well, I don't know if he's realised, but in Qatar, FIFA have their major medical centre, and it's associated with major up-to-date sports facilities, stadium, running track, football fields, you name it, it's all there. And basically, because of this new organisation, him and the people he works for have set up, they wanted him to go and explain why he has this bee in his bonnet about, which he's had for years, about oral health and its benefit to supreme athletes. And that's what he went out to do. And I gather it's been taken as a huge success. He's had, the number of plaudits he's had from all over the world. And it's obviously struck a chord. I mean, to put it in its simplest form, and I'm not the professional, Neil is, if you think they're paying hundreds of millions of pounds for players now, and they get all these medicals, and the one thing they never touch is that oral health. And I know from listening to Neil and talking to Neil, as soon as you open your mouth, a good dentist may be able to tell you all sorts of things. I mean, I've seen Neil come home from work quite upset because somebody sat in the chair and opened their mouth, and then within seconds, Neil could see they had cancer. Somewhere else, not in their mouth, but somewhere else in their body. But he could see it in their mouth. So he's applying that to sport. There are areas of your mouth that will tell you about your physical fitness, general fitness, not just your mouth, not just your body. So to pay all that money for people and neglect a piece of the body that can reveal so much about your fitness, and people are starting to take notice. And that's what he was doing in Qatar. He was actually standing up in front of worldwide representatives to describe what he has in mind, and it's gone down very well. And the company he works for is absolutely over the moon. They couldn't believe the response that they've had. So it's just incredible, and I couldn't be happier and more proud of him because he's worked hard on it. It's not a flash in the pan. It's something he's been concerned with for a while, and it's just great. But I mean, I don't know. I may get wrong of him for saying this. He's the only FIFA registered dentist in the UK. There isn't another, and that says something. That says something.
Yeah, top man. Congratulations to him again. And first thing that you look if you want to purchase a racehorse is its mouth, says Alan. So there you go.
Yeah.
Interesting, interesting stuff. John's second question: are you confident that if Eddie Howe, David Hopkinson, and Ross Wilson are on the same wavelength, the future of Newcastle United could be very bright indeed? And is that the key to future success? Their relationship.
Yes, it's got to be part of it, hasn't it? It stands to rights that if the manager and the sporting director and the CEO are on the same page, then you've got the platform for success, in my opinion. And it's much better that way than having it like we had this summer window where there was nobody in place, and Eddie and his team and the recruitment team had to get together and do it themselves and do a good job of it. They did, in my opinion, but it's not how it should be. It should be that weight should be off Eddie's shoulders. That's the whole point of having a sporting director and the CEO working together with the manager, the manager providing the requirements and the other two go and supplying them, and that's so. I like the appointments. The appointments have gone down well with me, and I can see this. Laying the foundations for a very successful Newcastle United. I mean, the guys that's come in from Nottingham Forest. You have a look at the number of players he was having to buy for Forest in the last 3 years. I mean, I think there was, when they got promoted, they only had 13 players. You had to fill the whole lot up for the Premiership. You didn't do too badly. The team got up to the beyond the middle of the league and into Europe. So, I think those appointments working well is very important, and I've just got a good feeling that we've made the right appointments this time. Not hurried and definitely gone for people who know what they're doing.
Okay, we'll come to another of your questions in a minute, John. But Arthur says, who are the best right and left Newcastle United fullbacks George has seen in his lifetime?
Oh, seen? Goodness gracious. Oh, well, best right and left backs. Well, I'm good. It's difficult to compare ages, but within terms of names people remember, I have to say one of the most underrated right backs and probably one of the best I've seen was Bobby Cowell. Bobby Cowell was a local lad from Blythe, from Trimdon. Absolutely brilliant, great recovery, and a sin that he'd never played for England, and he never played for England because Sir Alf Ramsey was the England full back, so that's how he never got a look in. But he was magic. And to more modern times, you've got to go a long way to better David Craig. David Craig from Northern Ireland was great for us, and at times absolutely outstanding. So there's two on the right side. On the left side, I've got to say, if he stays fit, we'll have the makings of the best left back we've had for many years in the club now, in young Lewis Hall, but keep them on the pitch. But in reality, again, go local. Frank Clark was as good as any, and another one who I think was underrated and missed out on England simply because he had World Cup players in his way like Ray Wilson and the like. Otherwise, I think Clark would have played for England. So Frank Clark, and if you want to go just a little bit further back, another Irishman, Alf McMichael, was a brilliant left back. So we've had our shared both sides, and always good to watch. So that's a sample as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, Alan Kennedy and Natras were a good pair. There's Woof. Stephen Kennedy says, George, what did you make of Roy Keane and Ian Wright putting down as on Anthony Gordon's performance, saying he played well, but you had Saka not taking on his fullback or hitting balls into the box and not getting picked up on it? Sour grapes, if you ask me.
Well, I was close to put my foot through the television at the half-time talk because they went on and about getting Rashford on the pitch at the expense of Anthony Gordon. And Anthony Gordon was for that first half was the best player on the field. In the first 5 minutes, he made 3 crosses that should have been goals in a normal game. Just nobody in the middle, including Kane, didn't get anything on it. Otherwise, they'd have been in the back of the net. And it wasn't until he scored the opening goal that England started to open them up. And he ran his legs off. He was absolutely fantastic. And it was more than frustration, as I say. The half-time commentary from the pair of them had me jumping up and down, and my seat, it was so bad and so biased. And even at the end, they were very grudgingly saying that he played well. He didn't play well. He was outstanding. He was absolutely outstanding. And he gave an interview after the match, a much better interview than he gave, for example, when he was with Southgate at the Euros, when he was virtually blackballed by Southgate almost towards the end. So much so he was ringing at him and Eddie Howe were talking to keep his pecker up. Nothing like that on the interview the other night. He was happy. He described what the manager expected, and I think he showed what the manager expected. And I'll be honest, if he performs like that for us in the next few weeks, that'll be great, because he was absolutely outstanding. So yes, I share your frustration, and I can understand Keane, because he's just a sourdough. But I was a bit disappointed. Righty's usually a bit fairer than that. Maybe he's keen to talk them down or something at half time. But yeah, it was unwarranted and just off the wall. I just couldn't understand it.
Stephen also says, George, did you notice the German players haven't been passing to Big Nick unless they really had to? He was free on eight occasions with easy routes to give him the ball, and they refused. He says Narbury was the worst defender with 5 refusals to pass. Do you think it's that they don't trust him or they don't like him? Is that the worst German side you've seen as well? He says it's the worst I've seen in 30 years.
Yeah, it's a bad side, and I've got to say, they could have played all night, and the only person that would have scored was Nick. He was the only one that was ever going to get near the goal. And his header that he scored with was a bit lucky. He's in the right place, and he tried to flick it on backwards, and it came off his shoulder. But it doesn't matter where it comes off. That's what I like about a good striker. You don't care where it comes off as long as he's in the right place. So yeah, it was a bit peculiar. I'm not so sure about whether they like him or they don't like him. Maybe he's the new kid on the block, and he's interrupted a group of elder players who thought they had it all sewn up, and he's just interrupted that. So, but I tell you what, his manager will be happy, because he seems to score every time he puts his boots on for Germany. I mean, he was outstanding in the under-23s. So, again, he plays like that for us. I'm quite happy. But yeah, they're a shocking team at the moment. They'll be looking to get to the World Cup, I think. Really, that's the best they can do against Northern Ireland.
Yeah, okay. Lots of questions coming in. Barry says, George, if we were to purchase another striker in January, who would you like us to sign?
Oh, I think the big guy from Bournemouth, whose name escaped me. Sorry? The
guy, yeah, he's just signed for he's Brazilian, isn't he?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Salimo, is that the name?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Wouldn't take a gamble on Harry Kane then for 2 years. And next question from Barry was, George, if you could have played for another club other than Newcastle anywhere in the world, who would you have signed for?
Oh, yeah, it took it at my heartstrings. The Arsenal, and notice how I say it, the Arsenal. And when I was a kid, you didn't say Arsenal, you said the Arsenal, because they were so outstanding in every sphere. On and off the pitch, they were the best. And yes, Newcastle United's always been the team. Couldn't do anything else with being brought up at the Chicken Road Academy, for God's sake, where we had our own pitch in the back garden. But in the back of my mind was always, well, if it can't be them, who could it be? And the Arsenal was always the answer. The Arsenal was it, yeah.
Okay. Semenyo is the winger. A lot of people, Semedo is the person I think you're talking about. Yeah, that name rings a bell, Anthony. It's not
Yeah.
Evan Nielsen, I don't think. No, not Chris Wood. Not Chris Wood. And George, do you still think the council will back down regarding the new ground if there's enough money involved? I think we've
I'm
talked
not
this to
sure.
death.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's the council that's in the way, and I think yes, the only thorn in the side with the council is the small group of anti Saudi Arabia councillors who are, still talking about blood money and all that rubbish. But I think even they've been squashed. No, I don't think the council is a problem at all. And yes, money will talk, just like it has with the houses. I mean, I think we own no houses now, even though they're listed buildings. I think we already own them all. And yes, money will talk for the council. They're so hard up, but I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is still in Saudi Arabia, that the higher ups are still debating what they want, and with the chairman keep coming and saying he wants us number one, he wants us number one. I think he wants us wants to have a number one stadium and all, and that means that it's 75,000 that we've talked about. I think he wants 100,000. That's where I think it lies. And when they've made their mind up, they'll tell us smart quick. So I'm not even sure the council's a problem, Barry. I think it's in Saudi Arabia where it is.
Interesting. Well, it'll run and run that. It'll happen when it happens. And I think what we've got to remember as well is it's a long-term project. You know, it always was, even going back to the days of Amanda and Mirdad and those days before the takeover. They were very, very, very quick to point out that this wasn't a short-term investment for Saudi to come in, buy it and sell it for a profit. This was Saudi coming in, planning on being here over 20, 25 years. So, it's going to go on for as long as it can. Arthur says, George, how many world-class players did you think were in the England 1966 World Cup final team?
World-class. I think Bobby Charlton sticks out like a sore thumb. And in midfield, Martin Pietas, I would say, was world class, and Gordon Banks in goal, I would say. But after that, the rest were great, but I don't think they were world class. But Bobby Charlton was the outstanding one.
Bobby Moore, maybe?
Oh, sorry, yes. Bobby Moore had to be regarded as world class in defence. Sorry, yeah, that's the one that escaped me mind. Yeah, Bobby Moore definitely, because he was. There was around that time there was some great defenders. I mean, Germany had Beckenbauer, and they were very similar. Great defenders, but also great ball players as well, from out the back. And Bobby Moore had shone at that as well. So yes, Bobby Moore as well.
Jimmy Greaves was certainly the best goal scorer. Ian just hit an injury at the wrong time, George, didn't he?
Well, yes, and I don't know. There was a rumor that Ramsey didn't get on with him. I don't know how true that is, but it's something that Jimmy Greaves was always reluctant to talk about. But it was a sin that the guy that was popping in, 30-odd goals season after season, wasn't in that team. And somebody like Roger Hunt, who wasn't a bad player, but he wasn't as brilliant as Jimmy Greaves. No, that was sad, and he certainly, if he'd been in the team, he might have changed people's minds about world class, because I think he just had that ability. He just had that ability.
Okay, Gary's question next. Question for George, not including Miley. Of all the young players we have at the moment who haven't played for the first team, who do you think will be the breakout player or players to make it?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, there's two currently who keep hitting the headlines every time they go on the pitch. That's the young South Korean lad called Park, and the centre forward Neve is looking very good. I think we're at the position with him where we were with Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson was doing everything brilliantly at that level, and he was sent out on loan to Bristol Rovers and Joey Barton. And suddenly we got messages from Bristol that they had the Geordie Maradona, and that was Elliot Anderson they were talking about. So I think to toughen him up and give him some minutes in first team football, young Neve may well be on his way out on loan next year, I think, and come back the better for it. But he looks absolutely as though he could score goals for Toffee at the moment. Every time he puts his boots on, he seems to be scoring goals. And further back, we're starting to see him, young Murphy, coming onto the bench now. And it's about time, because he's been knocking on the door for a while. I thought after our trip to Saudi Arabia, which was it a year or 2 years ago, when he came onto the pitch and with other youngsters, and Dan Byrne marshalled them in a game, they looked great. He looked great. So young Murphy, I think, is not far off. If he's not far off this year, then I think that the club will be moving him on. But he looks promising to me as a defender, got to say.
Okay, we are halfway through the show. Time for the ads. Back for this. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them at www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk, email info@mrvickies.co.uk, or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com, email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com, telephone 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you like listening to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network or to iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to support the show, then hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the little thumb up under the video, which is the like button, or click share to share to your social media. You can also join the channel on YouTube by hitting the join button for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become an NUFC Matters member, you can go to nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. It's a £25 one-off fee. You get your pen, you get your badge, a key ring, you get your beer mat and your fridge magnet and your membership card, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk for that. And we have an event early next year, 13th of February 2026, an evening with Beardsley, Waddle and Gascoigne takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. To buy your tickets for that event, go to the box office 0191 243 1171 or Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk. And don't forget, an evening with Warren Barton and Joe Allen is the Christmas do this year, 21st of November, and tickets are £12, nufcmatters.co.uk. In aid of Age UK North Tyneside Dementia, and early next year, Supermac and Gibbo, and Peter Beardsley and Joe Allen, both events in January for Dementia, Age UK North Tyneside. And you can get your tickets by going to the website, nufcmatters.co.uk. And a big thank you to Gary and Sharon, who've agreed to sponsor the book, The Promoter and the Photographer, which means that all proceeds now go to the charity Age UK North Tyneside Dementia. The Promoter and the Photographer, a book written by myself and Singe, only 200 copies available, 15 sold already. Thank you to everybody who has chipped in so far. But it's just short of 100 pages, nice glossy, very similar to the fanzine. Speaking of which, £1,902.14 raised from the fanzine. Thank you to everybody who subscribed. And we will be doing the next one for December. Those of you who should have already received yours by now. The next one is out in December. Just wanted to show you this, George. Got sent it this week. That is Jackie Milburn and Bobby Cowell playing a football match at Dunstan Park.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously a charity thing or something like, and that wouldn't surprise me. That's the sort of guys there were. The two local lads, Jackie and Bobby Cowell, were always into that sort of thing, and so that doesn't surprise us. But I'm sure there's lots of other pictures, other places that have done similar things as well. I mean, make no secret of the fact that my all-time hero was Jackie Milburn. But Bobby Cowell was similar. The local lads who did well were nice guys as well, which was lovely. And as an aside, for many years, Bobby Cowell's wife lived next door to my brother-in-law at Blythe, and she used to wear one of his cup winners' medals round her neck as a necklace. Just passed now, but for years she was next door to my brother-in-law at Blythe. But that's lovely picture for somebody.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for sending that in. Yes, and just a shout out to the Tyne under-21s. They are on Sky Sports tonight against Mansfield at 7:35 if you're looking for something to watch. TV times have been changed as well for the final months of the year. That's the big news coming out of SJP today. The Spurs game at home is now the 2nd of December, and that is an 8:15 kickoff, 8:15 p.m. kickoff on Sky. It's a Tuesday night, so that's ridiculous for the Spurs fans. No way of getting home. Saturday, the 6th of December, Burnley at home. Well, that's now a 3 o'clock kickoff. There's no live TV, so no change there. Sunday, the 14th, of course, of December is the game we all expected to get moved. Has been Sunderland away, is live on Sky. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff. But yes, it has been moved to the Sunday at 2 o'clock. And Saturday the 20th, the Chelsea game at home. That's now a 12:30 kickoff, and that is live on TNT. No fixtures after Monday the 22nd of December were mentioned in the press release, leaving the following games to be all confirmed. The Premier League fixtures to the end of January were due to be confirmed today, but Manchester United away on the 27th, and Burnley away on the 30th. No news on those yet. You would imagine the Manchester United game is going to be part of the Christmas package, though, over Christmas. But we'll wait and see. But yeah, the Sunderland game, that's the key one out of all of that. That is going to be 2 o'clock, on the Sunday now. Rob, our designer, who is going to design the Takeover book cover as well. I've got something else for you, Rob, as well. I will be in touch, but I know you're very busy at the minute. Does George like the darts? And if so, who is his favourite ever darts player?
Oh, I mean, it used to be Phil the Power Taylor many years ago when I first started watching, but now some of the modern darts players would give him a run for his money now. There's a couple of the Continentals I like, but the two that played in the final the other night, Littler and the other Luke. I've got forget his name. They're both absolutely great. I mean, to see people hitting 100 180 used to be, huge. Now it's almost expected. They're so good. So at the present time, Littler takes a lot of getting past. What I also like about him is how humble he is. I mean, he won that big title the other night, and the next day he went and played in the World Youth Championships. Because he just wants to play, and I think that's magic. I think too. So yes, there's lots of good ones about. There's a couple of good Continentals about as well, but. At the moment, the two Lukes, Littler and the other one begins with a P. Peace, something like that. Anyway, the two that played in the final the other night, their takes have beaten.
Cheers, Rob. Thank you, mate. Yeah, we'll look forward to chucking the ideas around about that, mate. It is certainly ticking along the Takeover book, so we'll keep you all posted. George, rank the following nationality of women in order of attractiveness. Stephen, you're getting banned from the channel for that. We're not going to get George into trouble, so I will avoid that. I read half of it and realised what on earth he was saying. We won't be doing that, Stephen. And Bully's special prize for Stephen is the speedboat. Question for George from Arthur. He says, a question for George. When great managers are talked about, why is Sir Alf Ramsey never mentioned?
Oh, I think it goes back to the fact of the sort of personality he was, and the fact that what he did was kind of limited compared to some of the others, you know. But he wasn't oh, it's hard to say. He wasn't a likable character. He was the typified the reason that Brian Clough didn't play so much for England. You know, Brian Clough used to say that all Ramsey was interested in is whether or not you could put the right knife and fork on the table to have your dinner. He wasn't interested in what you did on the football field, and I think that's part of it. He just was not a likable character. He was the manager who sit on the bench with his 3-piece suit on and be there. You know, there was no sort of difficult to have any camaraderie with him, that as far as I could see. And I think that's one of the reasons why people tend to forget him. He just not a character that was very likable. I mean, we've had similar people suffer the same fate at Newcastle. I mean, we all talk about the statues around the ground and Joe Harvey and Alan Shearer and all of that. Jackie Milburn. Nobody ever mentioned Stan Seymour, but have a look at what Stan Seymour did for Newcastle United. As a player, he won the league twice. He won cups, FA Cups, and then when he left playing, he'd invested his money in the club and became a director. Then he became chairman and manager about 3 or 4 times when we won all the cups in the 50s, and did lots of other things as well. I mean, he every season, if we had any money spare, he used to buy players. He never left it in the bank. He used to buy players. And one time I think it was the 48-49 season, we had 40 registered professionals with big names, you know, like Stubbins, Roy Bentley, Charlie Wayman, all England centre forwards, all in Newcastle. And coming up on the rails was a young man called Jackie Milburn. Now, Seymour did all of that. But do people talk about Stan Seymour? Nah, because sadly, Stan wasn't a likable character. He wasn't. Joe Harvey was a likable rogue, as the say in this part of the world, and you know, and so on. And Bobby Robson was just a likable man, but Stan Seymour didn't have any of that. I'm afraid. You know, I've told stories on here about Stan Seymour and some of the things that made my hair stand on end, but. So I think Alf Ramsey suffers the same. He just wasn't a likable character. He didn't have that camaraderie, even though he did quite well at Ipswich, but he disappeared relatively quickly after that.
Yeah, that's a strange one, but yeah, I can understand it. You know, and you know, not every manager gets the recognition that they should do, but nobody at international level has managed to follow in his footsteps since he won. You know, which is amazing. Really. I do want to just say we haven't done one of these for a while, but I'm just posting it in the chat now for those of you in the chat. We're going to do a little auction, which we've done in the past on Jumblebee. I'm pinning it at the top. Have a look at that when the show finishes. There's some items on there which we've put in for free, which we're going to hopefully find a good home for you guys for Christmas, but it'll raise a few quid for the dementia charity as well. So have a look on there. There's lots of signed prints. Shearer, Beardsley, Chris Waddle, you name it, they're on there. Pavel Cernacek. So have a look on there. Place a bid. I think most of them start around about the £15, £20 mark. But we're just trying to raise a few more quid for the dementia charity before Christmas. Okay, George, who do you think will win the World Cup in 2026, says Marcus?
Oh, hand on heart, it's the way they're starting to build up again. I would be happy to put some money on Brazil. They're starting to get momentum in a way in which they've done before. And when you see the way that Bruno and Joe Linton and others from the UK are fitting into that squad and winning all the matches now, they're looking quite strong. So I think they're not going to be far away. If you want to come to Europe, again, Spain's starting to build up a momentum like they did with the Euros, and wouldn't surprise me if they go a long way. If Tuchel can keep the squad he's got together and add one or two to them, I don't think we'll be far away. But hand on heart, I can't see we're winning it. But certainly, we're going to knock some important people out, I suspect, because we are playing well at the moment, to his style, and that's important. You see, was watching something this morning online. It was Ian Wright, Keane, and somebody else talking about the fact that all these talented players he hasn't selected, like Bellingham and Jack Grealish and one or two others, Foden, and they chipped in saying, yeah, but Ian Wright said, yeah, but he obviously likes to see what they're like in the group. As a team, not just as individuals, as a team. And it is quite clear that Tuchel, he expects players to mix well. I mean, that's why Dan Burn got in the squad. He saw Dan Burn at training and thought, I want that attitude in my dressing room. That's why Dan Burn got in. And I think others have done the same. So, but if, the real answer to the question is, if I was pressed, I would say Brazil.
Okay. Next question is from Alan McKenzie. He says, George, do you have any sympathy with John Dahl Thomason, or are you like me? You reap what you sow in life, and he made the ultimate mistake. Of course, he's talking about our former striker, John Dahl Thomason, who was the manager of Sweden 3 games ago, coming out and supporting Isak going on strike.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure he did do that, but he's killed himself by just selecting Isak. In that first game that they lost, Isak had 30 touches in the whole game. 30 touches in the whole game. I mean, if you'd done that at Newcastle, the crowd would have booed him off the bloody pitch. And then the second game, he didn't have a shot on goal. And I don't think he had many more touches either. So, if you stick by people like that, to the detriment of your team, then that he got what he deserved in that sense. I mean, Elanga, for example, and there's that Swedish team should walk to the finals if they put their minds to it. But whatever's gone wrong has gone wrong as much in the dressing room as it has on the pitch, in my opinion. And I suppose there's a bit of you reap what you sow to support a player who's done that in a way he did, and he did support him, but it come back to bite you, and it certainly come back to bite him.
Yeah, certainly did, and he suffered with his job. Last couple of questions in the chat, George. Would you buy Mateta from Palace, or do you think he's getting on a bit now?
No, I don't think so. Not at this stage. If we're going to buy somebody of that type, I'm sure there are other slightly younger people around who we would invest our money in. No, he's not one I would buy. No.
All right. Okay. And question for George from Tom Dixon. Who do you think will make the England World Cup squad? I guess, really, from your perspective, George, we can't go through the whole team, but yeah, I mean, which of the Geordie boys, the Newcastle United players, do you think will make it?
Well, if they're all fit at the time, I could see we're having quite a party, and I can't. He seems to like Anthony Gordon, so Anthony Gordon's going to be in there. If the two fullbacks are fit by the time World Cup comes around, Paul and Livramento, they must have a shout. And Big Dan Burn, well, the question is the clock ticking too fast for Dan? But I don't think it is. Tuchel still seems to like to have him in the squad for all sorts of things, not just what he does on the pitch. So there's 3, 4 at least. at the moment quite easily. And that wouldn't surprise me at all. Because he seems. I mean, he liked Lewis Hall at Chelsea before we even got him, and he certainly. It was him that sent Livramento to the under 21 competition to get competition experience. So if he's doing that, there's only one thing in his mind, that's World Cup. So I can see all of those getting into the England squad.
Okay, let's go back to a couple of George's questions, John's questions. He says, defensively, we seem fine. Big Nick's made an excellent start at Newcastle. However, the potential number of games might make this season very tricky. But if Wissa knee holds up, do you think that might be the key to another excellent campaign? If he can thrive at Brentford, how well can he do here?
I don't see why he shouldn't do as well here. In fact, even better, because he was having to compete with Mbeumo at Brentford, where here he's the style he's got that obviously I think he was bought for. He's got it all to himself, and he becomes an addition to, not instead of, Big Nick, and I think they could be a devastating pairing. The question is how Eddie would use them. So I think get him fit, and I think he could be a huge asset to the season, to the club, because he's got the pace and he certainly knows where the goal lies. So I'm eager to see what he does, and I'm quite convinced that he'll make his mark.
Okay, the menu in January is who I'd be after. Forest won over 100 million for Elliott, so they reckon, which is what Alan says. We've got 2 players for every position now. New signings are going to be tricky, says Ian. Interesting stuff. The next set of fixtures look okay, says John. Do you think we might start a winning run soon?
I hope we start a winning run this weekend, because we need to lay a marker down, to say that we're back, we're coming. And I think the shoots were there in the European game and against Forest that we are on our way back. I mean, even the games we've lost this year, we haven't exactly played bad in any of them. We've had a lot of bad luck in some ways, but we still tried our best and looked quite good in patches with some brilliant football. If we can harness it and bring it all out at the same time, like we did in Belgium, then the rest got to fear. And so that's the new winning start to begin this weekend at Brighton.
Okay, Gary says, been going to Newcastle since the 70s, hand on heart. I've never been so optimistic about Newcastle's future. Good times will come. Stephen says, George, can you remember when the TV hook was on top of the turnstiles at the Gallagher paddock? Who used to do the commentating on shoot? I can't remember. Was it George Taylor?
Yes, George Taylor started it, yes. Yeah. And then it went to Roger Thames, wasn't it?
Roger Thames.
Yeah. But George Taylor was the first one. Yeah. Those were the days. I mean, I hate to say it, but if I'm still around next February, I will have completed my 80th year as a supporter of Newcastle United, attendance at James's Park. So there's not much I haven't seen. And as you know, Steve, I do enjoy stories about the Gallagher corner. I mean, I've seen it all. My stories about the 10-minute flag, for example, and people used to wonder what the hell's the 10-minute flag he's talking about, and people still wonder sometimes. And then there was all the stuff about those dreadful toilets, and were just awful, and how people used to get past, kids particularly, used to get passed down over the top of the heads of everybody when it was full if they were laid in, which I've sampled several times due to my idiot uncles that used to take me getting in late. But yeah, I mean, happy days. We've had all sorts to put up with in Newcastle, but by and large, I still enjoyed every minute of it. It doesn't disappoint. It gets us hot under the collar occasionally, but it's still an enjoyable experience going to the match.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. Got a question which Stephen Kennedy actually sent in last week for Supermac and Gibbo, but I didn't get time to ask it. He says, what are your thoughts, George, on Alanga, Barnes and Big Nick so far? Here's my thoughts. Alanga's flattered to deceive. I know there's a great player in there, but it'll take a few months before we see him at his best. He's got a lot to learn about the Toons way of play. He's not playing the Eddie Howe way yet, but will come. My biggest worry is his finishing. He's had a few chances this season, especially one-on-ones, and he's got a tendency to blast the ball as hard as he can, which is usually to the centre of the goal instead of choosing to go near or far post. How can his finishing be improved? Barnes, well, he's got no excuse. He's been around a while now, and where he is capable of scoring goals, I feel this season he's been a tad greedy on several occasions because he's gone on great runs, but instead of playing in a colleague with lots to choose from, he holds onto the ball too long, runs into dead ends, and he's mind's only on scoring himself. I'm happy with Big Nick. His hold-up play is superb, and his goal last week, after receiving the ball in his own half to free up trips to play in Alanga to win his penalty, was first class. What do you think about these three so far this season?
Well, I agree with Alanga. He hasn't hit the mark yet. And he's had occasions when he's been free to run at the goal, and he's chosen to do something other than shoot at the goal. A couple of times against Barcelona, for example, he was absolutely wide open against the fullback, and could have run straight onto the goal. And instead of doing that, was immediately looking for somewhere else to put the ball, which disappointed me greatly. And he's done it in other matches as well. However, he's a great player, and last year he was the top provider in the Premiership with assists. And the net result was that Chris Wood got 20-odd goals. If he gets that back, then I think we can see Big Nick adding to his tally very, very nicely. Harvey Barnes, I don't know. I never used to believe in this impact sub thing, but he always seems to do better when he comes on, sort of second half and is given 45 minutes to run people ragged. And he's still got the pace, which is valuable, and can still hit the ball. But he's been a bit disappointing this season in his choices of what he's going to do with the ball. So I tend to agree with that as well. Big Nick's been a revelation. To be so big and have such quick feet is most unusual. And I think when he plays the ball close and he dribbles the way he does, and because of his height, I think we could be in for a stack of penalties, because the defenders will tend to try and knock him off the ball and knock him down. That's assuming VAR is watching, of course. And his overall play is intelligent as well, and it's getting better. He's improving. I mean, he just when people are saying, well, he drops deep. Well, when he drops deep, he's usually laying a ball off to somebody in a very intelligent way. So I don't mind that in a player. And the other thing I like about him is that in the game against the Belgian side, when Anthony Gordon took the 2 penalties, the story is that Big Nick wanted to take them. Well, he got the chance that day and nearly bust the net. One of the best penalties I've seen in a long time. And I can live with a striker like that that has that kind of confidence. That really is good. I think by Christmas he's going to be setting the league on fire. I'm convinced of it. So that's my assessment of the 3. But I none of them I would say are. I would discount them. I'm not in a position where I would say I'd discount either Barnes or Alanga. They're still talented players and capable of contributing. And I'd like to see them get the opportunity in the next few games.
Yep, still works in progress. Great stuff, George. Wonderful hour that. Thank you very much for your time. I know you're busy working away on another couple of pre-records, so we'll have the viewers entertained when I've got a couple of days off and when we've got Christmas on the horizon. So we'll be doing one about captains soon, 2 episodes on captains, which I'm looking forward to. But George will be back with the Amigos on Friday night at 5 o'clock. I'll be back tomorrow, 6:15, with Supermac and Gibbo. Until then, have a nice night, whatever you're doing. Take care, George.
Just a quick word, Steve, before you go. today would have been my 59th wedding anniversary had my Marjorie been here. So today's been quite a emotional day for me. So I was glad to do this, and because I can still see her sitting in her chair, rocking to the NUFC Matters music. She's certainly a Long Sands fan in the last couple of years on this earth. So I've enjoyed doing it today. Thank you everybody for sending the questions in and for taking the time to watch. Thank you.
Take care, mate. Good night. God bless.
Bye.